Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we're taking a look at Star Citizen, and this is probably one of the worst decisions I've made considering my current setup or no setup of the PC according to the Star Citizen. Now, if you remember this game, it was announced and kind of released 2014. It's been called a scam, a sham, a money grab and whatnot, and up until this point, well, people are loving it. Kinda. I guess. Not entirely sure. This game is a graphical masterpiece. It keeps getting better and better. It gets constant updates. And it is a little bit of a money grab to get into the game. But then again, it kind of follows the same route as Tarkov does. So if you know about Tarkov, you need to buy essentially a character which comes with the very basic things. So like a ship, a little bit of credits, and then off you go. Good luck, you know. Whatever happens with you later on, not our problem, which is fair enough. The community has grown beyond belief, and you know, arguably this probably is one of the best space simulators out there, and it kind of trumps all the usual suspects like the Elite Dangerous and things like that. Now, obviously, ever since Starfield came out, people are comparing what you can do in Star Citizen versus Starfield, physics, graphics, and whatnot. Now, talking about Star Citizen, however, here's the thing. They never really broke out of the beta stage, same as Tarkov. But the difference is when they go for the minimum or recommended requirements for the game to run, there is no such thing. You do get minimum requirements. Minimum requirements are really modest. A quad-core CPU, a GPU with at least 2 gigs of video memory, preferably 4, and an SSD for storage. Everything else is left in a shroud. Now, when it comes to everything else, good luck. So far, I would say, after taking a spin at this game, that this is very demanding CPU title, and the CPU title is because this game is partially procedurally generated, so it's not exactly something the GPU can render when you're going somewhere. It's more about something that's not there, and the CPU need to crunch numbers to know what should be there, and only then GPU can actually draw it for you. So hence, if you have, you know, 6-core CPU with no hyper-threading, you're probably going to be stuck on full HD resolution, running low to medium settings, and it's going to be fine. If you want to go for 2K or 4K, well, you're kind of looking at something like a Ryzen CPU with at least 8 cores or even more. Preferably, I would say, you need a Threadripper cooled with space itself, and about 104090s, I guess, for 4K. But anyway, we do not give up with such challenges on this channel, as you know. So let's have a quick look-sees. Graphically, as you can see, there's not too much things here. First and foremost, we're going with a 4K for now. Quality is very high. This is the highest setting we can put the game on. Everything else is set on high. Field of view is 90 degrees. I don't really want to push it above 90 because you end up with a pretty serious fisheye effect. You can actually see your own back while you're looking forward, so, you know, tread with caution. Motion blur is off for obvious reasons, no vertical sync, and that's pretty much all there is. This game has no support for DLSS, FSR, or even render scale. You actually are stuck with what you have, which I suppose is okay. You know, some games are kind of following this pattern as well, so end of the day, that's not too terrible. Now, when it comes to mastering this game, you kind of need to go for a University of Star Citizen, which is roughly 4 to 6 years, and then you can maybe graduate taking off from a hangar or landing, because mouse and keyboard is possible to use, but for real immersive gameplay, you actually need 2 joysticks and a throttle, or literally grow another pair of legs and arms, really. Which is a very small price to pay, because, to be fair, this is probably one of the most engaging games I've seen in a while. And I've been looking at this game for a while, but I could not commit to buy it because I've seen other people playing this game, and I've seen their homemade setups. It's wild. Like, literally go on YouTube and just type in Star Citizen setups and just enjoy the beautiful builds people are putting up to play this game. And that's like the actual cockpit, you know, like everything custom made, 3D printed. It's mad, it's beautiful, but I do not have such luxury, so we're stuck with what I have. Outside of that, you can actually do everything you want. There's even a Tobii or Faceware support. You have support for a majority, if not all of the flight sticks and whatnot, all the things you can fine-tune for your exact liking. And the game itself is kind of RPG, MMO, solo, multiplayer, co-op, all at the same time, and not exactly any of those things. So yeah, I think I kind of covered the most. And I know that there's going to be some Star Citizen fans in the comments raging and calling me a complete... You might insert a word here. And honestly, I agree with you guys. You know, you have your own little ecosystem here. And I'm proud of you. But let's have a look at what we're actually going to have. As you see, MSI Afterburner is very, very small. And the reason is I actually tried this game before. This is now the Fleet Week. The Fleet Week essentially means the Star Citizen community, well, company essentially gives you, or Roberts Space Industries, they give you 3 days to test the game. If you like it, you buy the account and off you go. And during these 3 days, I don't have to pay my money. So, you know, nothing competes with free. So here we are. So let's jump straight in. As you saw the settings, 4K, everything maxed out. We're jumping in. And that as far as we go. Now, in all honesty, my CPU is about to literally just die on a spot. This game is not taking it lightly. It is taxing it, and 6 cores is just, it's getting overwhelmed by everything. It just cannot keep up in 4K. And you might think that in 4K resolution the GPU will be taking on majority of the tasks, and that is absolutely not the case in this game. It's not enough, at least not in 4K. I've tried this game in 4K, 2K and Full HD, and honestly, with an i5 6 cores, Full HD is actually very playable. So we're getting out of the bed, and I'm just gonna read it out for you here real quick. You're gonna accept the mission. We are done. So this is essentially the very start. So what we have, we're pulling 8.99 gigs of video memory. Currently, we're pulling 18 gigs of RAM straight off the bat. And we're sitting comfortably at around 35-36 frames. As you can see, the CPU usage is very high. Like, I haven't even seen this in the Ubisoft titles, and Ubisoft, it definitely loves to just cook out your CPU. Now, there is a little difference when it comes for this game running without MSI, because I do believe the hardware polling every second puts extra strain on this particular system. But hey ho. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna have a stroll around and look how it actually feels. And honestly, it feels fantastic. First of all, this plant actually looks like a plant. Now, you might think I'm joking, but I'm actually not. I mean, I've seen a lot of plants in video games, and honestly, this actually looks the most convincing. Even though it kind of looks rather low res when you pay close attention, but overall this composition, this actually looks like a plant. And yeah, occasional game stutters is rather expected, I would want to say. We're already up to 10 gigs of video memory and 19 gigs of RAM. CPU is kind of going crazy with 100% here and there. So again, if you want to play this game in 4K, 4070 is probably not exactly going to be the way for you to go. And, you know, can't really blame them for it. But outside of that, I do like it. So when it comes to the control scheme, keyboard and mouse, possible to play. You're gonna be rather limited because it does require a little bit more different things to be enabled or touched or tweaked at any given moment. So we're just gonna have a stroll around and see how it all feels for us. I mean, I kind of did feel this game a little bit before, and even though it might not look too much, all things considered, I do believe this game does have a potential down the road. Whenever they actually, you know, will say, hey, it's gonna be fine. So, yeah. Right, let's go find ourselves a transit hub and stroll through this wonderful scenery at 100% CPU usage and 28 frames. I mean, yeah, for a flight sim, I must say this is rather interesting performance, but hey ho, Star Citizen has never been the title where you can just jump in with a laptop for 20 minutes, have a match and jump out. This game literally wants you to just sit down and play it. And once you get immersed, I do believe you won't even really notice all of these little stutters. So yeah, we're up to 20 gigs of RAM usage, and we're slowly creeping up to 10 gigs of video memory as well. Right, let's go to the transit platform, and we shall get to the hangar and get our ship. Because you do get a free ship for exploration purposes during the fleet week. So we're gonna actually do it. And as you can see, it's actually is rather nicely done. Like, you know, I wouldn't say this is Starfield level, but the idea itself and attention to detail in this game is a little bit more on point than I would want to say about Starfield. Even though it runs like this, you know, it's fine. The only difference is, since they haven't really released the official requirements for the game, it might be a little bit hard for us to know what exactly is required. Outside of that, you know, it's kind of fine. I think that oh, I actually missed the train. I thought I'm still waiting for it. Right, we're gonna talk for 1 minute 40 minutes 40 seconds. Okay, anyhow, so yeah, so how do you go about this game with the 6-core CPU? Very simple. You drop down your settings all the way to full HD, and even then on high you're kind of might be hitting 60 frames. As you can see, the GPU usage currently is about 89-97%, so it's kind of bouncing in and out, and as you can see, there's nothing really going on in this scene. Since there's no RTX, not entirely sure, the game is running natively in DirectX 11, so technically it won't even have an RTX support for, because it requires DirectX 12. But yeah, 10 gigs of video memory being pulled, that definitely does not really sound too much as a requirement in comparison to 2 and 4. But I do believe the whole fun actually starts when you get off the ground and you start flying around, because in all honesty, remember Cyberpunk? It looked exactly like this, despite the settings, and it was running roughly on the same performance, so I would say it's probably gonna get fixed in the future. So we still have a half a minute. So how's your day going, guys? I hope everything's fine. I don't know when you're gonna be watching this video, probably after the fleet week has finished, but I would say keep an eye on it. And this looks like an actual player. And look at this dude, it's absolutely kitted out. What an absolute legend. I mean, look at this. I want to be like him. He's my role model now. He is just intimidating. He's the guy who's definitely is blowing everyone out of the sky, really. You know, it's fine. It's okay. Gonna keep our distance and keep an eye on these frames. So yeah, as you can see, the city is actually rather nicely done. Kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk, Mass Effect, you know, the cutscenes and stuff like this. So it's just one of these things, really. And yeah, when we're gonna get to the ship, we're gonna go down to full HD resolution, see what frames we get. We might even adjust some settings from very high to medium, because even though this is a space sim and you are essentially required to immerse yourself, it's very hard to immerse yourself at 30 frames or even below. And we're up to 21 gigs of RAM usage, so let's just wait until we go to the next stop, which I suppose is gonna be the spaceport. So you can enjoy the scenery, and if you can see the frames, we're about 26 to 30-ish frames currently, which by the size of the game, I wouldn't say it's too bad. It's more about a CPU bottleneck rather than anything else, really. Right, here we are. Look at this professional. He already knows where he's stepping off. Man, I just love dedicated players, man. You know, they just know their way around the game. Like, this is just... You know, I do appreciate people enthusiasm when they play games. Like I remember myself in Ghost Recon, I was exactly the same, just, you know, man on a mission, I'm going, I have places to be, I don't have time to doodle around. And yeah, once we go into a little bit more flashy areas, the frames fall all the way down to about 40-ish. And I'm kind of a little bit lost. And Spaceport is that way. As you can see, it's very self-explanatory once you played it for longer than 10 minutes. And now we just need to go and get our ship. Which luckily we do have. Now I did manage to crash it while trying to take off, so I'm not sure if we're not gonna get it back in the same state. I truly hope not.
Welcome to the ASOC Vehicle Retrieval System.
Okay, we have a starter ship.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
Hangar 2, perfect. We can just grab an elevator and... yeah, we do have working elevators here, which is amazing, all things considered. And our mission is 42,382,093 kilometers away, which is fantastic. That kind of puts the scale where the scale is for the solar system. There we go. And we're going for the Hangar 2. It is a little bit weird because a lot of keybinds have multiple purposes if you hold and press Alt something. But yeah, I think it just requires you to really sit down and kind of, you know, get used to it. And what do we have? Well, my ship is still crashed. As you can see, it's actually missing a fin. Or an aileron. Or a rudder, call it as you want. Oh well. I guess it's fine, you know, it's not that bad. So we need to kind of gain access. And when you look at the ship, it looks fantastic. Like, look at the attention to the detail. All of this. You can literally see the weld marks. Look at this weld. It's juicy. And so on and so forth. So the spaceship models and stuff like this, it clearly drives it home. You know, like, it's not just something like you would see in... what was the game? Forgot the name. No Man's Sky, where you just see a ship and it kind of looks good. Like, this actually looks good. Even though if it's a huge starter clunker, definitely, you know, just for smashing into things, and that's about it. Probably it can do X, Y, Z, but still, it does look good. Now, if we want to take off, I think we actually need to go down to the full HD here, because flying with 30 frames, trust me, that's not something you actually want to be doing in this game. So we're going all the way down. And as you can see, at this point on full HD, we're actually way above 60 frames. And at this point, this is where the game actually becomes actually playable. We're still pulling 21 gigs of RAM. The video memory usage has gone down from 10 gigs to 8.5. But hell, you know what? I'll take this over barely 30 frames any day of the week. So we're gonna go inside and embarrass ourselves. And you need to remember to do all of these things. Also, I have no idea how to retract landing gear, so I think we're gonna be going in rather blind. Like, look at all of this. It's glorious. Come on. Takes a little bit of getting used to here. Right, okay. Right, that is up. Now we need to go the slow way around and request landing services to let us out. Thrusters online. We are ready to take off. So mouse control for steering. As you can see, we are severely already under 60 frames, which is not a big surprise. And we're just gonna... Well, cutting power mid-flight is probably not the best idea in the world. But we definitely can manage that. Let's engage the thrusters a little bit. And we need to get to exit atmosphere. Right. Let's try to switch the camera here. Which I think I've actually changed some keybinds accidentally, because usually control kinda switches your camera. Perhaps we could do it with some other things. Probably not. Okay, doesn't matter. We're getting the hell out. So yeah, in general I would say this is definitely something that you need to get used to first and foremost. And even now, just looking back, we're already breaching the cloud level. Like, how cool is that? And there's no up in space, so we're kind of going the right way, I guess. Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a star pilot. Kind of feels a little bit weird doing this, but we're doing it our way, you know, as long as we get out. I'm pretty sure there was a spool your engine way. Just have a look around real quick. Right, and we do have a mission somewhere, but that's not the point, I guess. Let's try going straight up. Reach the big dark space and go from there, but yeah, this is the performance. As you can see, it's kind of hit or miss, so the better CPU you have, or the lower settings you have, the better off you actually might be end of the day, because space battles, stuff like this, exploration, it does take a toll on your system when you think about it, really. Let's engage thrusters and get the hell out of here. To an extent, I guess. As you can see, our boost gauge is slowly going up, so we're just gonna probably wait. It's not easy to break away from the Earth's atmosphere, so it's one of those things, really. Well, we're getting into the darkness now, and I know that I'm complete newbie when it comes to this game. I'm absolutely aware of that, because in comparison to, let's say, Elite Dangerous, the tutorial took about 10-15 minutes. The beginning tutorial just to understand what you have to do in this game is 30 minutes. So it's not exactly, you know, I'm just gonna jump in and do a thing. It's about you jump in and you just have to pay attention. If you're not gonna pay attention, you're gonna have a pretty bad time. So just keep that in mind if you start playing this game. But overall, I would say this game probably is definitely worth it, because when it comes to immersive environments and graphically nice games, I would say this definitely is one of those that actually could earn this title. Right. We have successfully got away from the planet without actually using the drive, so it's one of those things, I guess. We do have a VTOL mode that I have no idea how to enable, but here we are. So it's not exactly a cutscene like in Starfield in regards where you want to go, but you kind of have an idea about it. And we have guns as well. Perfect. Right. Yes, we are going somewhere. And yeah, at this point you usually would go and spool up your light or FLT drive and just get to your destination, but I'm not gonna bore you with how to find it, because you need to go through a very long list of keybinds. So what I can say, however, we can just actually turn the ship off and just fall down, really, and exit the cockpit, because why not? This is the last day of this game anyway. So I would say this game clearly is playable. It is nice. It actually gives you the freedom of space exploration, and it requires you to kind of think and understand what you are doing at any given time. And I must say that this is probably the whole point of Star Citizen, that it's not one of your regular games where you just jump in and just kill a bad guy and you get XP and you get a level. This is about learning the ropes, understanding how stuff works. They do have in-game currency, they do have trading, they do have ship upgrades and everything else you can do. Good jobs, dirty jobs and stuff like this. And the community is huge. Now, in regards to the game performance, it is definitely playable on lower settings. Probably the lower resolution you can get, the better off you're gonna be if your rig is unable to handle it. And honestly, it's a little bit of a shame that even with the 47 TTI, the game is not exactly taking advantage of it, but it's more CPU bound. Hence, we have to downscale all the way to full HD to actually kind of, play the game, really. Outside of that, I must say, it's not that bad. This game, and most of the space sim games actually are like this. So why not just take your time, adjust your settings, test it out, learn the ropes, and go for it. I do believe from time to time they do have a promotion on when, how, and what. So I would say it's probably worth it. Anyhow, before I crash into the ground, I hope you guys learned something interesting today. And yeah, just to recap, 4K, ultra settings, 25 to 30-ish frames, full HD ultra settings, 60-ish, depending if you're on a street, around 50-ish if you're in a city, and above 50-ish and 60-ish if you're in space. And any other resolution or any other graphical setting probably is a little bit of give and take. So I would say, depending on your rig, just see what works the best for you. And you might actually, enjoy this game. So let's see if we manage to not crash, or we're gonna see the ground. Oh well. I have been relocated for my own safety.
Are your personal responsibility. Monitor your luggage at all times.
into here. Anyway, on this note, guys, I think I'm gonna leave you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Over and out.